Howdy, Possum Patty here. Yes, little TT's here too. And we have a story to share with you. Come on along. Well, let me do a little backstory first. Gotta set the stage for the story. So on March 6th, it was a couple of days before the full moon in March, the spring moon, the Lenten moon, the worm moon, there's many names for it. Anyway, it was a couple of days before the full moon, and the sun was setting in the west and the moon was coming up in the east, and it just looked so pretty. I thought I would go outside, and it was March 6th at 6:06. March 6th at 6:06. I know that because it gets imprinted on the picture, right? So I walked around to the back of the house first, and I was trying to get the moon between some branches so it would show up. And I took a couple of pictures, and I noticed that when I looked at the picture on the phone, I was using my phone camera, that it was very light. There was more light in the picture than what I was seeing, and I wanted it to be darker so that the moon would show up better. I mean, the moon was actually showing up, it was that bright, but I wanted the woods to look dark. So I noticed that up in the corner on my camera, it had the shutter speed was set at 3 seconds or something. And I said, oh, it's just letting in too much light. So I touched that 3 seconds and it went away. So now I wouldn't get a time exposure. It would just flash really quickly. Not flash, because I wasn't using a flash, but I mean, shutter speed would go quicker. So then I took a picture. I moved over a little bit because now the moon was a little bit higher. So I positioned myself over a little bit to get the moon between the branches. I'd taken off the 3-second shutter speed, and I took another picture. And I said, well, but let me get another one. So I tried one more, and I was trying to get the moon to see the moon perfectly without a lot of branches in front of it. Although that probably would have been a good picture too. Anyway, so I was, doing this thing with the camera, and then on the screen, on the phone, on the screen, there was this little, green light. And I put the phone down, and I'm looking in the woods, and it was I didn't see anything. So I put the phone up, and I'm trying to take a picture of the moon, and there was this little green light. I'm like, what? And I put the phone down, and I'm looking in the woods. Didn't see anything. I put the phone up again, and there it was again, this little green light down in the corner. And I'm thinking, well, it's got to be some sort of reflection with the moon coming this way, and the sun was setting behind me. And, sometimes you get those little reflective things on the lens of the camera. So I'm figuring that, okay, it's just a little light reflecting. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to take a picture of the moon. So I took 2 more pictures, and I finally got a picture. Then I walked around to the front. Well, let me say first, at first it was a little scary seeing that light. But because I didn't see it when I put the camera down, and I looked, I put the camera up, I could see it. I put the camera down, I couldn't see it. It was just very strange. It was a little unsettling. I said, let me walk around the other side of the house, take a picture of the sun setting. So I took a picture of the sun setting, then I went in the house. Didn't think any more of it. Well, the other night, I was watching Dana, let me get her name right, at Butterfly Crafts and Crochet. And she was sharing some happy mail. She'd gotten a journal and was telling the story how it took 2 years for this journal to show up through the mail. And then she attached to that a little video. I think her granddaughter was staying over or something, and she was snoring, and she thought it was funny, so she was going to take a video. And when she was taking this video in this pitch black room, you could see little orbs of light in the background. So she said there was a spirit in the room. So I'm watching it and I'm laughing. And then I went on to something else. And then I'm thinking, well, if her little orbs of light were reflections, I'm thinking the light from the camera was just reflecting off of something. There's always reflections. I'm always getting little reflections in my glasses. There's always reflections, right? So I was thinking, well, if the reflections showed up on her film, maybe that little green reflection showed up on the pictures. And so I loaded the pictures onto my computer so that I could enlarge them and look closer to see if that little green light that was down in the corner showed up on the pictures. I think, oh, maybe I have a picture of a spirit, right? So I looked at the first picture, and that was the one where it was, too light. It was too light because the shutter speed was at 3 seconds. And there seemed to be like a little blurry image. I mean, just like one part of the image was like a little blurry. And I'm like, Then I looked at the next one. Yeah, it was there. And then I went to the one, where I used the fast shutter speed, and so the woods were darker. And it showed up. There was this green glow coming down out of the trees in the woods. And I'm like, oh, I get these little chills all up and down my body. And I'm like, oh, what is this? Went to the next picture and I enlarged it. And at first the green glow was up higher. And now it was coming down lower. And I'm like, it's moving. And now it was closer and lower. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this thing? And I'm trying to make it larger. But you can only go so large, especially in the dark. And it just gets very grainy. And I'm like, what is this thing? And I'm looking at it. And I went quickly to the next picture because it was even closer and it was larger. And I'm like, I have no idea what this is. And I'm trying to blow it up. But then it got all pixelated, so I'm putting it back down smaller again. And it was like, ooh, this is scary. What is this thing? And when you enlarge it, it looks so weird. It just you can't make out at all what it is. And it's just this very weird shaped green glow moving in the woods. And I've got pictures of it, right? So it was like late at night when I was doing this. And Mr. Possum had already gone to bed. And I was like, I gotta show somebody, but I wasn't gonna go wake him up. I said, well, first thing in the morning, I'm gonna show him these pictures. But I couldn't go to bed yet. I just kept looking at the pictures and trying to figure out what it was. And like, what kind of spirit, what kind of unidentified flying object is this? And I was like, let me go back. So I went back to the one when it was like not so far away, not so close, sort of in the middle, sort of coming down. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, you know what? It could almost be like a little flying squirrel gliding down to the ground. And I saw like little points that could maybe be the feet. And there was a dark line in the middle. And I'm like, well, maybe that could be the body because, the flaps of skin on the side would show up lighter than what the body was. And then there were just these four little points. I said, well, maybe those are the feet. And that's the flaps right there. And then the body's in the middle. I said, you know what? I bet this is a flying squirrel, right? Nature. And I'm like, but why is it glowing green in the dark? And the only light, like I said, there was a lot of moonlight, and behind me was the setting sun. So I started Googling flying squirrels and animals that glow in the dark. I don't know, right? 2 interesting facts I learned. Flying squirrels and possums. Yes, possums glow in the dark, but they fluoresce. So you kind of need a black light to see them fluoresce. But it said that the flying squirrels and the possums fluoresce sort of orangey pinkish color, not their fur, but like their skin. And I'm like, oh, well, this was definitely green. And then I'm thinking, well, I didn't have a black light, but maybe it was some strange combination of the moonlight and, you know, how when the sun sets and you get sort of that flash of green and maybe, you know, the oranges and the pinks. There's all kinds of colors at sunset. Maybe it was just some strange combination of moonlight and setting sunlight through the atmosphere that made this flying squirrel glow green. I mean, it was like strange, really strange. Well, that's my story. Now I'm going to put it in my journal. I am using this little golden book, Margaret Wise Brown's The Golden Egg Book, as my early spring daily journal, not so daily journaling. And I am going to just journal about this out of the world event. I only have a few pages in here done. This is the next page, but I'm going to save that. Maybe do some Easter memory keeping or something on that page. I'm going to skip over to this fluorescent green. I guess when I made the book, I thought this looked springy. And it is a good thing that I have a collection of stickers from the Dollar Tree that are out of this world. I want to use this alien for sure. And the moon, because I was going to journal about the moon. The spring full moon. And you think I have room on here? I don't know, for like a UFO? Maybe. I'll probably put some extra glue on these, but I want to see how much room I have to journal to tell my story. And I printed out one of the pictures. And I circled the object right there. See, that looks like the body, and then the little dots would be like the feet, and then the lighter parts would be like the flap that they used to glide with. I don't know. I have no idea what it was. I'm thinking maybe it was a flying squirrel. And I think I'll put this like down here. Something like that. So what I'm going to do is see how much room I need to journal the story. And then I'll know how many stickers I can actually fit on here, although these two are definitely going to go here. These definitely have to go here. The alien. I'm going to put a little extra glue on the foam sticker on the back. Sometimes I pull those off, but I think this time I'm going to leave it on. And I'm going to put him right down here in the corner, popping out. It is very dimensional. Oh well. And then this is a sticker picture that I printed out with my Canon IV mini printer. And they're easy to peel before you round the corners. Once you round the corners, it makes it a little harder. So I want this guy to be sort of pointing over to that. And you do get a sets of stickers and things. That's how I got the word scary on there. And it gives you a drawing tool, so I circled the little object there. These two, I'm not sure. So let me see if I can get my story journaled on here. Okay, I filled up the page with writing. Now I want to glue down these other stickers. On March 6, 2023, I went out to the backyard to snap some photos of the almost full moon. A few days later, I watched one of Dana's videos at Butterfly Craft and Crochet, and she caught some spirit light orbs in her video. I went back and took a second look at my moon pics because I remember seeing a green light that night. And I did see a green glowing object in the photos. Perhaps a flying squirrel? Too funny, right? Just too funny. Oh, this went down pretty good. You never know what I'm going to journal about. It's all life. It's all life. It's a little hard journaling around that guy, but I went around some of the pictures, and there it is. So thanks for listening to my, I don't know what this is, green glowing object gliding through the woods towards me story. Too funny, right? Just too funny. Happy junk journaling. Bye-bye.